everybody, welcome once again to Nerds with Alcohol.
I'm Chris.
I'm Russ. This is episode 187, continuing our wonderful pandemic, our pandemic version of Nerds with Alcohol. And it was a beautiful day in Detroit.
It was absolutely gorgeous out today.
Yeah, not as sunny, but nice still, kind of a light overcast, but nice. Just, man, the weather was just beautiful.
It was maybe 81, 82, I think, was the actual temp.
Yeah. For sure. But yeah, just, we needed it too.
Oh yeah,
just fucking needed it. I've been really valuing these really nice days because, everything else has gone to shit in the world, So when we have these really nice days, I can very much appreciate it. So, how was your week?
Well, I'm getting around. I sprained my ankle last week. Yeah.
Right. How you feeling?
For the most part, it's better, except when I catch a toe on the stairs or something along those lines, or lose my balance a little bit. One of the things Renee brought up was the fact that, so I'm a tall guy, I'm 6'5", and so there are certain spots in the basement that we have a finished basement here. There are certain spots that are lower than others, and I always have to duck going underneath those. And now, on one side, I'm 1.5 inches taller. So
there's been some head
yeah, there was actually
one.
Renee was up north. I didn't go up because of my ankle. Which is why we're actually tonight doing the show tonight. We were going to do it later because I was supposed to be up north right now. But I think it was Saturday. I was walking around down here. I went to head for the stairs and I didn't duck enough and caught the corner of the drop down area, the molding right in that spot right on the top of your head where all the bones meet.
Yeah, the soft spot, you mean?
Yeah, right there. Yeah. And had I been going any faster, it probably would have dropped me to my knees and fucked up my ankle more, even though it was in the boot.
Oh man, it's so weird how just you hit your head in the right spot, man. I hit my head one time on the back of the head, right at the base, and I almost knocked myself out. I was doing something under a shelf at work, or the big metal shelves, warehousing shelves, and I ducked under and blah blah blah, and I didn't back up enough, and I banged, bam, and the world started to close in on me for a second. I didn't go unconscious. Well,
I hit my
close.
Head in that same spot, doing the same thing, moving towards the stairs at one point a couple of weeks ago, and I actually laid down on the stairs for a few minutes. I'm just going to sit here. I'm not going to try to go up the stairs because everything kind of did that tunnel type of thing. And I'm just going to sit here for a minute, take it easy. So, but yeah, otherwise,
that's wild.
It's been all right. I've been playing a lot of MechWarrior. I'm actually looking at trying to figure out how to get that integrated into Twitch, and when I can actually do some Twitch streaming for MechWarrior for any of you guys that are interested in watching me get my ass kicked in a video game.
Yeah, that's the thing about some of us old guys streaming video games, man. It's just a excuse to watch us get our ass kicked by some young kid that's been playing for the same game for half of their life. Some 11-year-old that's been playing I don't know, fucking Fortnite for the last year.
I've been playing MechWarrior Online since it started. I'm actually one of the founders. I was one of the ones that actually invested in the game before it came out, because years ago I played a beta version when they were first developed, when another company was first developing MechWarrior Online, and me and one of my buddies really got into it. We had a blast. We were part of House Steiner, and there was a lot of intersphere conflict and fighting over planets and stuff, and it was a blast. This one, you can do that stuff, but for the most part, it's just 12-on-12 battles with different types of games, and there's different objectives. It's kind of like paintball, but with mechs. And it's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of stomps, too, because there's different tiers, and if you get... there's a lot of games where you wind up losing 12-2, 12-0, 12-1, 12-3, things like that. But there's other games where you're on the other side of that. So it's a lot of, it can be a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I'm playing with, I got Renee playing, I got a couple other friends playing, and we're actually we actually have our own unit. We're the Serenity Valley Survivors Club. Because Brown Coats was taken. So we've got our group.
That's a Firefly reference, ladies and gentlemen. That's a Firefly reference for those of you in the back. Firefly reference.
But yeah, so we've got that group, and we get together and we play. Like Bob and I played last night for like 3-4 hours, where we actually grouped up and we're in fights together. And we've done it where we're in an entire lance, because the lance is four mechs. And we'll get me, Renee, Ed, and Bob all together, and we'll actually drop as a lance. And it's actually a lot of fun, because even if we get our asses kicked, we're still joking around and talking, because we've got the comms for the actual game, and then we've got our own comms on Discord that we're talking through. So, But yeah, so that's mostly what I was doing this weekend. I was working on my models, some for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I've got my first Chaos Warrior unit, I guess it is, all put together and primed, so I'll be starting to paint them soon, although I still got...
So an exciting couple of days you've had here.
Yeah, staycation, just been doing a bunch of nerd shit, and I'm loving it. Actually, I got another 4 or 5, or what is it, 5-6 days before I gotta go back to work. I don't even want to think about going back to work yet, because I'm just enjoying my nerd staycation.
Absolutely.
So how about you?
Well, it was just kind of a quiet week, just working on some artwork again. Apparently there was a little bit of a COVID scare at the parade company last week, so a few people were getting tested, but it seems to be it's fine. One of the guys posted Gabe that he's working on a solo float. Like my buddy Hank is working on a float pretty much all by himself for it's a very limited budget, but still should be going back soon. It's just any day now. If I don't hear from him by the end of the week, I'm going to give him a call again. Figure, it's like, guys, need an update. It's like, good Lord, it's getting close to more and more like it was my second year. My second year, they didn't bring me back until Labor Day, and I was like, I was broke, man. I was like, fuck it, broke. And I'd been doing jobs like I'd worked like half the summer working at the festival site, at the Michigan Renaissance Festival site, helping rebuild a stage and a booth for one of the guys that used to work there. And
Colorado actually canceled their fair this year.
Colorado canceled their fair, and one of our sister fairs, the Minnesota Renaissance Festival. It's another festival owned by Mid-America Festivals that owns the Michigan and the Bay Area Ren Fairs. Pushed back their opening date until Labor Day. I guess they are to give it some more, give the state some more time to recover and stuff like that. They're currently, I guess, Minnesota is still limited to no gatherings of no more than 250 people. So they're hoping that extra time will allow the state to go, more research and all the other. They just made a big post. It was very intelligent, actually. It was a very intelligent kind of thing, stating also that they have extended their lease and will be staying in their current location in Shakopee, Minnesota, for at least through 21. Minnesota's been they've been needing to move for a number of years now, for like a while. They've constantly had to renegotiate their lease because the land that they're on is being mined. So like all of the land around them is being mined.
Minnesota, eh?
Excuse me. In Minnesota. But anyways, yeah, so our sister festival has said that there was recently some news was going around some not news, but speculation was going around on the various Ren Fair kind of sites stating about how the festival hasn't gotten their permits yet and all these other things, and it's like, so it's just people, very worried about whether we're going to open and stuff yet. I mean, I heard from my buddy Scott Mullen, who's been on the show a few times. We spotlighted his artwork and his t-shirt designs and stuff. He let me know he won't be coming up. Whether we open or not this year, he won't be coming up. So, which is a real bummer, because of the pandemic and everything, he just doesn't have the money to even. He can't even risk it at this point.
He's in Florida, which is like the worst place in the world right now.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like, he wasn't able to get any pandemic relief. Florida has been horrible about it. It's been really rough down there. I've got a bunch of friends down there that are having a real tough time. So, but anyways, so yeah, that's some news there. The Minnesota Renaissance Festival, a sister show, has pushed back their opening dates. So I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens in Michigan, at the very least, or I'm still skeptical as to whether we'll even open. So we'll see. I don't know, man. Did a little gaming. We tried to do some gaming last week with my group with the Ren Fair kids, and we weren't. There weren't enough people to show up, so we just kind of hung out and chatted in the Discord channel that we use. So that was kind of fun. I gamed again with the guys from Arizona that I some old friends from high school, and that was a lot of fun. And it's just been kind of just chilling, doing life in our pandemic.
Well, so I got to bring it up because we try not to talk about too much, but we got to talk about recent events and the whole pandemic thing. And now that Trump, our Cheeto in chief, has a new campaign manager, have you noticed that his tone has changed about the whole pandemic? He's come out now. Yeah,
I did actually.
We need to wear a mask. You need to wear masks, and it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Yeah. I'm really hoping this is too little, too late, though. In that.
I think it is. I think it is. It's too little, too late for sure. I think a lot of people are still pissed off at him, and now they're mad that he's waffling. That he's not sticking to what he was originally saying. So a lot of the people that were originally supporting him are like, dude, but that's not what you said. I mean, like I saw some of the responses on his initial, like his Twitter feed or in his tweet, because I don't use Twitter, but I still saw a couple of the responses, and the person was like, look, I still support you, but that's not what you said before. And it was essentially, I'm paraphrasing. But, I mean, did you see the interview on Sunday?
On Fox, no less. On Fox News.
Yeah.
And they called him out for bullshit. I was in shock. I'm like,
they
go
had the
Fox.
interview. Oh. They had the interview, yeah, and then after the interview, they would jump in with, like, okay, this is what he said, and this is what the truth is. And I'm like, Fox News? Holy crap. I mean, Fox News is definitely, I think they've seen the writing on the wall, and they're like, maybe we need to distance ourselves from this asshole. Well, I mean, that was the thing.
He was being interviewed, and he basically said that Biden wants to defund the police, and the interviewer was like, no, he has never said that.
Yeah. He's never said that.
And he's like, oh, yeah, they did. Trump stopped the interview and looked off camera at his staff and said, get me the transcripts.
He did that a couple of times when they said that that America was one of the worst in our pandemic. Like we had like 900 new cases in that day alone, and then how's the thousands and thousands, and Donald Trump was like, no, I've been told that we're the best. I've been told we're the best, and I mean he was such an asshole about it too, because he looked off camera and he had one of his aides bring him some data that they had, and he read it wrong. He still read it wrong. He looked at their data, and it was still and he was like, see, we're the best. And it wasn't complete. It didn't have like Russia on it. It didn't have some of that. I was actually just watching Trevor Noah do a little analyze it a little bit, and it was hilarious. Just watching them just react, watching everybody to react to his meandering
he doesn't
bullshit.
Like to read.
That they talked about. No, and they talked about the one test that he took that was like a cognitive test or something like that, and about how he was like, "Oh, it starts off really easy, but I bet you couldn't answer those last 5 questions. But I tell you what, I answered all 35 of them, and I got them all right." And you're so full of shit.
Yeah, he doesn't like to read. I think he has difficulty reading, and that's one of the things that he tries to hide, is that he doesn't read well. And that's why he meanders a lot in his speeches, because he can't read a teleprompter.
Because he doesn't use he doesn't use a teleprompter. He can't read it, So even if he had good speeches, he couldn't read them. Oh man, it's just I sometimes I'll get through I'll start reading an article about something that he said or some video clip or something, and I'll have to stop in the middle and just go, I can't read this anymore, because I'm so mad about this guy. He makes me so angry, and he is. I keep throwing.
I figured that's what it is. I keep hearing him like, Dad, play with me.
Play with me. He'll just it takes me off so much to listen to the things that he has been doing, and you want it? Here you go. And I finally have to just kind of I can't read this anymore. I've heard enough. I understand the guy's a fucking moron. I've heard enough. I can't listen to it anymore. So, yeah. So, we do, guys, for those of you, if we got some new listeners, if we have any out there tonight, we do try to stay kind of clear of the political stuff, but, the political stuff is so glaring and so in our face right now. We just have to make an occasional response.
Try to stick to things like, fun pop culture stuff. We got to talk about what's going on in the world right now. At times, when it's things that are this important,
because it's important
that
exactly.
And we're seeing something we haven't seen since our grandparents' childhood days. Is a pandemic like this?
Yeah, absolutely. The pandemic itself, beyond just everything else that's going on, is a major thing. So, it's affecting the entire world, not just the country, but the entire world. So, I'm just, I'm tired. I'm tired of it, I'm fucking tired. I'm bored in the house, and I'm in the house bored. I'm looking at the dates, actually, at the Michigan Renaissance Festival. Today is the 21st of July. The festival is scheduled to open
4 weeks?
On August 22nd. Yeah. I have not heard... that's the other thing, too. I haven't been contacted about a contract or from the little contact I have had about my... about makeup is just I've been in contact with the head of the fairy ensemble. So, but also for those of you guys who do know the festival and do know the performers and stuff, just kind of a little heads up. The performer Rick Carver, also his stage name is Rick Rock. He recently found out some news that he has been diagnosed with throat cancer. Yeah, so he is feeling good about it. He's getting ready to fight it and doing everything. But for those of you out there that do the prayer thing or the positive energy thing or anything that you want to do,
good vibes.
I'm gonna shoot those out. Good vibes, positive vibes, whatever. You might want to just send them out to Rick. He's a great guy, great human being. Amazing person, amazing performer. I've known him for well over 20 years. He's a really, really fantastic person. And one of the most underrated and talented performers at Michigan Renaissance Festival. So if you could send out some of that love,
Yeah, I hung out with
that'd
him
be
a little
really
bit in
great.
the late
Because
90s.
yeah, he's I mean, he's literally like one of the best human beings I know. And I know some really good human beings.
Back in the days when I didn't get kicked out with everybody else. Because I was just hanging out with the performers, and security'd roll through and push all the patrons out and just leave me alone.
It's good to have some friends in high places, ain't it? All right, so
I am drinking something a little different tonight. This is actually a craft cocktail. It is a canned cocktail. It's a gin and tonic made by Coppercraft, which has actually become one of my favorite distilleries. Their gin is really good for G&Ts. I've had 2 of their bourbons that have both been really good. I really like their stuff a lot. I haven't had their vodka yet because I don't drink a lot of vodka. But yeah, so this is the can.
I've seen those at the store.
It is basically, it's a small batch crafted with our premium gin, house-made tonic and lime. It is from Holland, Michigan. What's funny is that if you look at this can, it's actually kind of tilted. You probably can't see it there, but you can see that the white is more here than it is here. But down at the bottom, you can really kind of tell that it's kind of angled. So it wasn't perfect, but that's just kind of something I just noticed. But it is 10% ABV because it actually is made with gin. It is, you know what? It's not a great gin and tonic. I will say that. I think that making a gin and tonic at home is better. It is clear. You can see all the sweat on the glass because it's a little humid down here in the basement, but it is perfectly clear.
Right.
It's tasty. It is refreshing. The lime is a little fake tasting. So I don't know if they use artificial lime flavoring or what, but overall it's not bad. And if you're going somewhere where you can't take a bottle of gin and tonic and all that stuff, and you just want to grab a 4-pack of these, because that's what they come in as 4-packs, and take them with you, I'd say by all means, it is a perfectly, I think, drinkable gin and tonic. I prefer actually mixing a gin and tonic myself, because then I can adjust how much gin, how much tonic, what tonic I use. And then how much lime I use. That's all just personal preference, but this is actually, I think, completely acceptable, completely drinkable, and it's a good, refreshing summer drink. I actually enjoy them. I would say I'd probably give this like 3 3/4 stars. It is definitely drinkable. So if you're into that kind of thing, you want some a craft cocktail. Coppercraft from Holland, Michigan, gin and tonic, pretty damn good.
Yeah, they have. These craft cocktails, these like canned or bottled craft cocktails are becoming really popular. We're getting a lot of them. There's a lot of them you can find at your local bottle shops and stuff like that. I think that company has like 2 or 3 different ones. I've seen Stella has. When we've gone to the liquor store and she wants something a little harder, I guess, gotten the like these bottled Cosmopolitans and a couple other ones that are they'll kick you in the ass. They're strong because they're a big drink too. Actually, there was 2. There was like a bigger glass bottle and there was a little one. The cool thing is, these glass bottles, once you like drink them, you can like totally reuse them for like cosplay stuff for like wizard bottles and potions and shit like that. They're really fucking cool. They're cool bottles.
I'll have to look for those. But yeah, these are pretty good.
Yeah, check them out.
Like I said, not great, not the best gin and tonic I've had, but it's definitely drinkable. So, what about you? What are you drinking?
Very cool. Well, I am drinking something else I got from the tap room at B Nectar. I got it is the strawberry mead. and it is absolutely spectacular. It's really great. I believe Renee had stated that they are going to be putting this into a wider production and be bottling it. So if you guys want to check this out, you can get it on the in the tap room, and it is a 6.2. You can get growlers and howlers. This is a howler, and it's a 16-ounce can. It is great. It's sweet. It's on the sweeter side. But it isn't cloyingly sweet. I like the fact that it's not like it's got it's sweet, but with just a little bit of tart, like some strawberries can have, and kind of balances it just a little bit. But it's not one of those like sweet, like it's not like some strawberry flavored things that can be overly syrupy. This stuff
I've heard it
really
described
great.
as alcoholic red pop multiple times.
Yeah, that's not far off. It's not quite as sweet as like Faygo Red Pop.
With anyone from the Michigan area or the Great Lakes area that has had Faygo and knows Faygo Red Pop, it is one of the best of the Faygos.
Like Strawberry Crush, that's probably a little more national. But Faygo has gotten around a lot of places, man. I love Red Pop. I love Faygo
Red Pop and Rock and Rye. Those two right there.
Rock and Rye. Yeah, but the orange and the grape is great too. Faygo hits some
Crush over orange Faygo. That's the one thing I will say. I like orange Crush better than orange Faygo, but grape Faygo is damn good though. And Faygo
Fantastic.
cream soda, out of this world.
Faygo root beer too is pretty good. Faygo actually has been expanding their flavors selection quite a bit over the last decade. So there's a candy apple flavor, and there's a couple other different newer flavors that too. Prop it up. Yeah, I've been seeing that too. I bought a bottle of Town Club. I don't know, 2 weeks ago. It was red actually too. It was Red Pop, and which is their strawberry soda, and. I was like, wow, I haven't had a Town Club in probably at least 2 decades.
I remember going to the
and it was exactly how I remembered
it. Distribution center, because the public could go in there and you could build your own case. And my parents would be like, me and my brother, they'd be like, all right, you guys get 1 case, and they'd hand us a case and say, you get to put whatever you want in there. Each of you get 12, and so we would get to pick all the different types of pop that we wanted.
We're aging ourselves here, Chris. No, they're just aged ourselves right there. There were glass bottles.
And I'm sorry, man. There is nothing like drinking pop out of a glass bottle.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more about that. You're able to find a place that serves Mexican Coke, and but yeah, man, my ears itch. The case that you would get at Town Club 2 would usually be like a wooden crate essentially, and it was a wood container to put the glass bottles in, and you would choose. Yeah, my grandparents would do that a lot.
Renee just said, "Town Club with vodka, super yummy."
I'll bet it would make for a great mixer. Great mixer. Strawberry mead from B Nectar, really fantastic stuff. And Apple Craft. Right. Alrighty then.
The first thing that I posted this on Facebook a couple of days ago. We got news that the Falcon and Winter Soldier has officially been delayed. It is not going to start next month. Which to me, that's huge. That's a huge bummer news. That I was really looking forward to that show. I'm really bummed out that there's no new date for it yet. I was really looking forward to that. I wanted to see how Disney Plus was going to handle the new Marvel shows, and this was supposed to be our first look at what they were going to do going forward. Well,
they got delayed because
they
of
had
the
to
pandemic.
stop shooting in May.
So So I believe they are shooting again. They are shooting now, if I remember correctly. But even if they are shooting, it's still going to, the rest of the production is going to be delayed. They've got special effects that they're going to have to do. They've got different things that they're going to have to be done. So it doesn't surprise me. I wouldn't be surprised if we still see it before the end of the year, but it's still not going to be.
What's going to happen is it's going to wind up taking the WandaVision spot, and WandaVision, which got pulled up, is going to get moved back to its original date of next year. I think that's what's going to wind up happening.
Well, it's entirely possible.
We'll see the Falcon and Winter Soldier in December, and then we'll see WandaVision sometime next spring.
Right. So, but if we gotta wait for it, we gotta wait for it. I guess there's not a whole lot we can do about it, unfortunately. I'm a bit bummed, but it's okay. There's a lot of fucking shit to watch. I'll tell you one thing: if any of the new shows get delayed, that's fine. It'll give me more time to kind of get caught up on some of the things I've been meaning to get caught up on, and like I had been binging the Arrowverse for a while, and I finally was just like, I need a break. So I kind of like halfway through season 3 of I think it's season 3 of Legends. I'm just like, you know what? This is a good place to pause. I'm gonna watch some other stuff. I have been continuing to watch Stargirl, which is still maintaining a really good level of show. Really good stuff, man. Really good. It's evocative of like Buffy, and but it's also got some really great like family dynamic stuff. Blended family dynamics, because you got her mother and her stepfather Pat coming together, and it's cool because they're shaking up some of the stereotypical like gender normative kind of like gender roles. Like her mom goes off and works in an office. The stepdad Pat works. He's a mechanic, and he's got a car auto repair place, but he's the one that comes home and cooks for everybody, because apparently mom can't cook. She unexpectedly was like invited her boss over for dinner, and Pat walks in and goes, "You're boiling chicken? Hang on, I'll take care of it." And and he was able to save it.
The sous vide is the thing now. The sous vide?
The what?
It's where you put the thing in the pot and it boils it, and it's a way of cooking all sorts of different meats and stuff like that. It's never mind. Okay,
please, thank you for that. Like, getting me out. There's certain meats. There's certain ways to cook meat, and boiling is generally not one.
Steaks in this, you cook it in boiling water and stuff like that, and it's supposedly really good. And I'm like, I don't buy it.
Oh man, there's 2 ways to make a steak: on the grill and on the broiler. And a broiler is only if you don't have a grill.
Pouring rain out, and you have to make the steak that night.
Yeah. Like, some people put them in frying pans, and they'll fry a steak, and it's like only in extreme emergencies.
Steak's got to be on a grill, And there is such a thing as ruined. I mean, it's medium rare, medium, ruined. That's the way that it goes.
Well, then I prefer my steaks ruined, because I like a medium well. I'm not a... I'll eat a medium steak, and I'll enjoy it, but I prefer medium well.
Never done a steak on a flat top.
What?
That's, no.
No? Somebody has said a suggestion?
Jay Pesic.
Right. Hey, Jim joined up. This Jim is my my dungeon master for my group, the new group that I've been playing with. They're in Arizona. And he was the guy that ran the D&D game I played in high school. And it is easily some of the best memories of gaming I've ever had is playing with those guys. So,
well, welcome, Jim.
I told them about it, and welcome to the show. He said, if we listen, can we heckle you? I said, absolutely. Please go right ahead.
Give us a follow, and you'll know when we're on. So you can heckle Russ even more.
Yeah, be prepared. He knows. He knows. 8 o'clock Detroit time every Tuesday night. So, What? All right, moving on. What else you got? What else you got? What else you
Well,
got?
we've got the new Marvel Universe of Superheroes at the Henry Ford now. Which
Yes.
I want to go check it out. It's going to be
I'll
there
tell you
until
that.
the end of January for anyone in the Detroit area.
Yes. January of 21. It's going to be at the Henry Ford Museum. It is a huge, like historical exhibit, all centered around Marvel Comics. So I'm excited. In fact, maybe I'll even see if Stella wants to go. Maybe sometime later this week because when you think about social distancing, a museum, why not?
I've actually
Sounds like a
never
great
been to
idea.
the Henry Ford or Greenfield Village, so
I know. I remember you saying, and that is messed up, dude. It's like a New Yorker saying they've never gone to the Statue of Liberty. Yeah.
I've never really felt the need. I mean, we never did it as like a school trip. We never went there, and so it's one of those things I just never felt the need to go.
Yeah, but man, I mean, you got heavily involved in the steampunk community, and a bunch of the steampunks used to go to Greenfield Village
they would
regularly.
do the invasion of Greenfield Village and stuff like that, and I never went for those.
Yeah.
It's also
for
the
those
other
of you guys
side
who
of the
don't know,
fucking
Greenfield
planet
Village,
because
it is not. It is a half an hour max from where you live. Greenfield Village, for those of you guys who don't know, it is a historical reenactment, like a huge outdoor historical museum. They've moved a bunch of historical buildings to the location. It's also the Henry Ford Museum, which is also a big historical museum, is right here too, and it's actually really, really cool. It also has a huge IMAX theater too, so I'm amazed that you didn't go and check that. It has never been to that IMAX.
I've been to the IMAX.
It was one of the few.
I was at the IMAX at the Science Center downtown, but I've never been to the one at Greenfield Village. And yes, Renee, I have also never been to the UP.
Well, that's a long.
I have lived almost my entire life in Michigan, except for the 7 years I lived in Louisville, Kentucky. And I have never been to the UP. I've been under the Mackinac Bridge, but I've never been on the Mackinac Bridge.
Well, you need to probably adjust that because the UP is fucking gorgeous,
Yeah,
it is beautiful up there. Don't go up there in the winter time.
Go up in the fall and go to like Tequaniment Falls and stuff like that. So.
Well, remember the fall hits earlier.
Oh yeah, I'll go right around my birthday, like mid-September. So it's still actually summer, but it's fall up there because it's the Great White North. Ooh,
Yeah. Please don't do that again.
Dude, that's Bob and Doug McKenzie, the Great White North.
Oh, okay. Yes, I missed the reference. Sorry. Anyway, yes. So the Marvel exhibit, we're gonna go. I missed the Star Trek exhibit. I never got a chance to go to that. So I'm definitely gonna check out this. Yeah. There's absolutely no excuse for it. So.
When it came through, that was fantastic. I did the Game of Thrones exhibit in Belfast when Renee and I were there. That was incredible. A lot of fun. I really enjoy those types of exhibits, so I definitely want to go check this one out and see some Marvel shit from. Yeah.
Well, it's Marvel history, is what it really is. It's about they've got stuff from the movies. They've got exhibits from like classic comic books and art and stuff like that from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. I mean, Marvel Comics, although they didn't officially really become Marvel until '61, Timely Comics, which was what started Marvel, was what Marvel grew out of, started in the early '40s with Captain America and the Submariner and the Human Torch and that kind of stuff. So, Marvel itself really didn't kind of begin until, until Spider-Man and Fantastic Four. He's just going to push that. He's just going to push that door open. He's figured out that he can do that now. So, so anyway, if anybody else goes, please let us know what you think. and everything. So I'm excited, super excited. It is a touring exhibit, so for those of you guys who are listening who are not here in Michigan, it might be coming to a museum near you, like the Star Wars exhibit did, the costume exhibit, which was also
that was so cool.
Really amazing, highly.
So and like cool. I said, the Game of Thrones one was just like that. It was really freaking cool.
Yeah. I missed that one.
Well, I don't think it's been here yet.
I would love to see that too.
I don't think they brought it to. I don't even know that they brought it to the States yet.
That's right. You saw it when you were in Europe.
And honestly, I'm so glad I did because it really was cool. Really, really cool. And seeing some of those things and like seeing like the stuff that Emilia Clarke wore, like as Daenerys, and seeing them on the mannequins and going, God damn, she is tiny.
She was a very little person. Yeah, very small. Particularly, and she looked even smaller standing next to Momoa. You know, so but that's the thing too. They shot him to look even huger.
He's a big guy anyway. I mean, I've stood next to him.
He's a big guy. He's a big guy. He's like 6'3". I mean, he's a big man.
A lot of times he wears boots that have like a
little bit of a platform on them. But that's the thing, though. I mean, it was. I think they filmed Drago.
Called
Drago. Thank you. I think they filmed him so that he would look like he was 7 feet tall, and particularly because he was on a horse a lot too. He always looked really, really massive. So I don't know how big the character is in the books. I'd be curious to find out.
I don't think in the book he's big, but they never actually say how tall he is or anything like that.
Okay. Alrighty. What else got?
We got news that Cobra Kai is officially moving to Netflix.
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm excited. I really want to watch that show. I've heard so many good things about it.
I watched the first episode on YouTube. And because it was on YouTube, it was one of those things that I always forgot to just go back and keep watching. If it's on Netflix, I can put it in my queue, and it'll be on there every time I jump in. I'm like, I can watch this. Because the first season, the episodes are only like 15, 20 minutes long. And, they're really short. So, and I've heard great things about it. So the first 2 seasons will be on Netflix as of August 28th. And then the 3rd season is going to be filmed, and then it'll be on at a later date. They don't have a date for it yet, but...
Well, that's cool though that it's going to Netflix, man. I mean, because it was on YouTube Red.
Well, YouTube.
I didn't want to buy
YouTube
or pay
Premium.
For another streaming. It was whatever, and so and I just didn't want to pay for another one. Not for like one show. I'm already doing that essentially for more or less. CBS I pay for just the Star Trek stuff for the most part. I mean, I'm planning on watching the new Twilight Zone, but for the most part. And
the thing is that YouTube is getting away from scripted TV shows now. They've decided that they're not going to go in that direction. They're going to get rid of all their scripted TV shows, and they're doing other things. So that's why this was up for grabs, because this was their main scripted show. So because they're getting away from it, Netflix is like, well, we'll take it, but if we're going to take it, then we want 2 seasons as well.
Sure. What are they? What is YouTube saying their plan is then? Are they just going to stick to creator-based stuff?
I think it's just going to be creative. Basically, like just creator stuff. It's
what they have on
now. Yeah, what they've actually been.
Well, that's the thing. You can get lost in a deep dive on YouTube, man. There's a lot of really cool shit on YouTube.
And it's what it is they found, I think, that people didn't want to pay for stuff on YouTube. So that was the thing. That was the problem that Cobra Kai had, was that it never broke the paywall. They didn't get enough people subscribing to watch that show. If they were subscribing, like I actually have YouTube Premium, but there's other reasons that I have it. It's actually part of like my whole Google thing. So I actually have Premium, which just basically means I don't have commercials during when I'm watching Critical Role or anything like that. So, which I'm fine with. I am all about paying extra to not have commercials. I do that with Hulu. I do it with YouTube. I'm fine with that.
Speaking of streaming services, though, the Peacock started this week. Have you checked it out yet? Okay, well, I looked it up. Now, the Peacock is kind of following that formula that Hulu originally started with, where they have a bunch of stuff for free, but if you pay for it, you get everything, and now the initial cost of it, I looked it up. The initial cost of the first tier is only like, I think, $5 or $6, which isn't too bad. The Peacock has a lot of stuff. Certain things are eventually going to go off of like Netflix and some of the other things, and going exclusively to the Peacock, like The Office and Parks and Rec, are going to be going to the Peacock, which is the NBC streaming service, essentially. You can also pay for the premium, which is the same thing as the first tier. It just is 0 commercials. Now, I believe the premium is not that expensive, not that much more expensive. I looked it up a couple of days ago, and now I can't remember what it is. And then I think they even have another tier above that. But anyway, it started on the 15th, I believe it was. It's wasn't going to the PlayStation. Hey, stop! It wasn't going to the PlayStation Network until the 20th, I believe. So, which is 21st now. So I'll probably install the free version on my PlayStation and check it out and see what it's like, what it offers. I doubt I'm gonna pay for another streaming service right now, since I already have Hulu, Netflix, Prime, HBO, CBS, and DC.
I got all those too.
And Disney. So 7. Jesus Christ. That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, I paid for
That's honestly ridiculous.
Years, so
I didn't realize.
Pay again for another 2 years.
The funny thing is I do end up at some point throughout, like, the week, I'll watch something on every single one of them. Well, not as much CBS right now, because I've pretty much watched everything that I'm currently watching on that show. When the cartoon, when the Star Trek cartoon starts, like,
was actually when Lower Decks starts in 2 weeks. But we'll talk about that later. But
But Stella watches Frasier like every night. Watches Frasier reruns every night. That's how she goes to sleep. So on the CBS. So we between the two of us, we're watching at least a little bit on each of those streaming services every day.
Frasier was an NBC show, so I don't know.
I know. I don't understand, because like they had said that Frasier was.
That I used to watch back in the 90s.
It might be the production company. It might be the production company might own it, even though, or that's affiliated with CBS might own it, even though it might.
I didn't realize that was on the CBS app. Because like Big Bang Theory, which was a CBS show, is on the HBO app. So, which I've been binging the hell out of that. I'm actually in the middle of season 5 now. I started at the beginning, and I'm almost at the end of season 5.
I'll probably go back to watching that eventually. I mean, I did enjoy the show. I just didn't, after a while, like I've talked about before, how a friend of mine pointed out to me that Big Bang Theory was very much making fun of nerds, as opposed to, even though...
But it wasn't. I mean, there is a lot of truth in a lot of the stuff that they talk about on there. And
there is, absolutely. But there were still the nerd guys, and nerd culture was still kind of the butt of the joke. There were still guys that were, they were successful in their jobs. And yet the show was still told through the lens of Penny, who was the normal person, and was still the one that wasn't considered the weirdo or the freak. Even though Penny,
the lens of Penny,
obviously,
it was through the lens of the nerds, with Penny as a side character.
No, she was not a side character. she was definitely, I mean, she was the one that it was still kind of like she was the normal one, even though she was the one that had a tough time holding down a job, and the struggling actress, and probably had a bit of a drinking issue at one point, and
well, she loved to drink.
just yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was still kind of laughing at nerd culture, as opposed to like shows like Community, where it was kind of like embraced. So I mean, I still enjoyed it. I gotta admit, I still enjoyed it, and I'll probably go back. And I've been meaning to kind of sit down.
And there've been some episodes I'm like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't remember this one.
I'm not going to deny that show is fucking funny as fuck a lot, So it's absolutely. It kind of rankles me a little bit here and there. So anyway, yeah, the Peacock guys, if you guys, let us know what you think. Because we are in the middle of the streaming wars. Eventually it's going to get to a point where some of these are going to drop off because people are just going to be like, I'm not paying for that, or it's not successful enough.
Well, it's getting to the point where it's costing me as much to have all of my streaming services as it would have had to have cable. So
I know exactly, and that's the thing that's really kind of pissing me off. I'm still not paying as much.
And the other thing is that I have to worry about a DVR with limited memory as well. So like, you only have 50 hours worth of content that you can record. Well, no, I've got all of Doctor Who at my fingertips now. I've got all of Big Bang at my fingertips. I've got all of Discovery at my fingertips. I've got, all of Friends at my fingertips. I've got, all of these shows that I can watch anytime I want to.
Right, exactly. And then, I'm great.
I've been going back and watching. I've been trying to finish off Orphan Black because I kind of forgot that I was in the middle of the last season of Orphan Black, and I'm like, I need to watch this show because I really loved the show, and I need to now finish watching it, and it's on Prime. Which, by the way, if you guys haven't watched it, Orphan Black, great show. Titania Masali, something like that. The main character in it, absolutely amazing. Plays like 8 different characters in the show, and
because it's a show about clones.
Plays every single one of the clones, and she is phenomenal to the point where when you see the different characters, you don't even realize it's the same actress.
Right, it's on my list. I'm planning on getting around to that too. So I pulled up. Not to change subject, but I pulled up the stuff for the Peacock. It says the price. Peacock offers both free and premium subscription tiers. The subscription tiers break down as follows. Peacock Free is a free ad-supported version that will include about 7,500 hours of programming. That's quite a bit. The tier includes full runs of older series, movies, daily news, and sports programming, including the Olympics, Spanish language content, and samples of select Peacock original programming. It will also include access to curated genre channels like SNL Vault, Family Movie Night, and Olympic Profiles. Content at this tier will not be available in 4K HDR, though. So my guess is the free stuff, you're not going to get any of the new, exclusive content, but you'll get a lot of the older stuff, and you'll get, some live stuff. Now, Peacock Premium, Peacock,
yeah,
I just said Peacock Premium.
Yeah.
I'm going to regret this. I'm going to regret it. Okay, so Peacock Premium makes the entire library of Peacock content available to subscribers in an ad-supported model. It is available to Comcast, Xfinity TV, and broadband subscribers via Flex, as well as Cox Communications video customers for no additional charge, and $5 per month for anyone who is not a Comcast or Cox customer. This tier includes everything in Peacock free, along with next-day access to current seasons of new NBC series, live sports programming that includes Premier League events, live access to Peacock original series, or full access to, Peacock original series, and a larger library of new classic and licensed content, approximately 15,000 hours total, all versions of the premium tier. All versions of the Premier tier will stream content at 4K HDR. So that's cool. That like that's actually better than Prime in some places, because Prime doesn't offer everything in 4K. Some stuff is 4K, some stuff isn't. Then there's Peacock Premium Plus, offers everything in the premium tier in an ad-free tier that costs an additional $5 per month. The tier will also offer subscribers the ability to watch content offline on mobile devices. So ad-free and offline, so you can download stuff. So for $10, you get the Peacock Premium Plus per month. It's not a bad deal. It's a lot of stuff. But I'm going to wait until to see what kind of things the premium offers. I mean, for $5 a month, I'll watch it with commercials. It's like they don't bother me as much as they bother you. So the interface looks typical, about the same as what you'd see in HBO Max or whatever else. So that's that. That is that. It did state that the entire series, going all the way back to the first season, all 45 seasons of Saturday Night Live will be available.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, it says, the following shows have full seasons and in some cases complete series available on Peacock. The Office, 30 Rock, Parks and Rec, Yellowstone, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Cheers, Downton Abbey, Everybody Loves Raymond, Friday Night Lights, Frasier, Will and Grace, The King and Queen's House, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. All 44 seasons of SNL are available on Peacock Premium at launch, with the current and subsequent seasons also available after the season ends on NBC. For example, Peacock won't be acquiring streaming rights to The Office from Netflix until 2021. So some stuff, so not all listed above are available at service launch. But they're saying, that's the thing. Some of these things are available on, say, Hulu. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is available on Hulu. So is Law and Order SVU. If enough stuff leaves off of Hulu, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and SVU, I'll have no choice.
Well, and that's the thing. Right now, that's part of the thing, is that the two main owners of Hulu are Disney and NBC. So those are the two primary holders. It was Disney, Fox, and NBC were the three, but with Disney buying Fox, Disney actually controls
Fox, right,
over half of Hulu's content.
See, I would have just thought that maybe NBC would have just doubled down on Hulu instead of trying to create a whole nother streaming service.
Like I said, Disney owns the majority of it. So that's the thing. That if NBC had a majority in there, they probably would have. But now they're saying that Hulu is going to become Disney's more adult forum.
Right.
Yeah.
Streaming stuff. Right. All right. Well, there's that.
Which means I think we're going to see a lot of NBC shows disappear off there. My thing is that are we going to see the NBC shows and the ABC shows, which ABC is owned by Disney, so I can still see ABC being on there, but are we going to see any of the other network shows like Fox and NBC still coming to Hulu in the near future, or are they going to go off and do their own thing as well?
I just don't want to have to buy a separate streaming service for every network. I mean, I just really didn't want to have to do that.
Yeah, and, I mean, I don't want to have to buy a separate streaming service for Fox just so they can break my heart over and over and over again, because every fucking good sci-fi show that they have, they fuck up and then cancel.
Right, exactly. There are good shows that have gone onto Netflix or onto Hulu or whatever, and particularly Hulu. And I'm like, I don't want to have to fucking buy. I don't want to have to buy a streaming service for Comedy Central or for the Cartoon Network or for FX or I just my guess is that not every
FX
network could probably afford it.
That's part of Fox.
Even so, it's just FX is a big has a big recently more so dumped a whole bunch of stuff on Hulu, like Nip Tuck and a couple of things.
That's because Disney bought Fox.
Right, exactly. But at least at $5 for the first tier, it's not terrible.
Yeah, I said that about CBS, the CBS app
not
too.
Terrible.
I still bitch about the fact that I'm paying $6 a month for CBS with commercials.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but the Star Trek is
Picard
really
was great.
good.
Discovery's been great. I'm looking forward to Lower Decks.
I think Lower Decks is going to be hilarious.
It's like Family Guy meets Star Trek, is what it looks like.
Well, I had a friend that was like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, I said to him, I think, one, let's give it a chance. All we've seen are the trailers. And two, I think a comedic take is one of the things that Star Trek kind of needs right now. I mean, Discovery definitely had its funny moments. It had some really, really funny moments. But it was still largely... Yeah, exactly. It was still largely, particularly in the first season was particularly dark. The second season had some lighter moments and stuff, but it's still primarily a serious Star Trek show. It's not, and I think this lighter take, this comedic take, might be something that's really, really cool.
That premieres August 6th, so we're only like 2.5 weeks away from that coming out.
Yeah, right around the corner. All right, so I got a couple of things here. So you want to talk about a good TV show, or a good show on Amazon Prime? Hunters, starring Al Pacino, is fan-fucking-tastic. The first season was 10 episodes long. Each episode is an hour or more. The first episode is actually 90 minutes. And it takes place in 1977. It's about a group of people that are Nazi hunters. They figure out that there are Nazis in America, and they go out hunting specifically a group of them, a number of them.
It's all Nazi season.
It's well, exactly, and it's produced, I think, and maybe co-written by Jordan Peele. So there's a great deal of comedy involved too. I mean, no, I wouldn't say a great deal. There is a soupçon. There's a taste of it in there because they'll do like these cutaways or these various different like interstitials where it's very a little more silly, but also educational. Because there are times when they'll do this like funny kind of like info dump, and then it'll flash on the screen. This really happened. And so a lot of the stuff is based in this show is based on real shit that happened, namely Operation Paperclip, when the American government basically smuggled in Nazi scientists and doctors that had perpetrated fucking war crimes, but brought them over because they were seen as a resource and they didn't want the Russians to get them. So the Russians, instead of saying, come work for us or we'll kill you, we said, come work for us and we'll give you a life in the United States with a different name and everything, and give them new identities. And it's fucked up. It's fucked up, dude. But the show itself is really fucking good. It is, the writing is amazing, the acting off the charts. I mean, it's Al Pacino for fuck's sake, So
Al fucking Pacino.
Al fucking Pacino. Playing an elderly Jewish man, So, but it's pretty fucking cool. So highly recommend it. They did a second season is coming probably sometime in 2021. And there's some really cool commentary, social commentary involved. Highly recommend it. Hunters, Amazon Prime. It's worth it. I've really been on this weird Nazi kick lately. Like, I know it sounds weird, but I watched the show Hunters. I just finished playing Wolfenstein, where you're hunting down Nazis and stuff. So it's funny. It was just very heavy and a lot of and particularly Wolfenstein, very violent, very bloody game. So when I finished that game, I was like, you know what? I need something lighter. I need to cleanse my palate for my video game. And so I pulled out one of the last Lego games that they produced, Lego Incredibles, and I realized I still hadn't watched Incredibles 2. So I actually sat down before I play this game, and I watched Incredibles 2. And I got to say, it was 14 years between Incredibles 1 and Incredibles 2. And I wish they had brought it to us even sooner, because Incredibles 2 is one of those just fantastic films that is almost better than the first one. It was, I mean, they're definitely on par. It was a really, really fantastic movie. Had a great time, enjoyed the hell out of it. The only complaint I would have had was that it takes place, like, literally right after the first movie, and I would have thought, well, maybe give it a year, give it a couple years. Maybe have Violet a little older, maybe have Dash a little older, have the baby a little older, Jack. But still, it was really fun, really great. I could see them making a third one, no problem. But anyway, so I played Lego Incredibles, and the game immediately jumps into the stuff for the second movie. So you go through all the stuff for the second movie, and then that unlocks the content for the first movie. And it was a lot of fun, but it was real quick. It was probably the easiest Lego game I've ever played. I played, I think, almost all of them. And I think the only one that I didn't play was the Indiana Jones one. And but yeah, it's a good game, but it is very, very quick. And if I remember correctly, when I bought it, it was $40 new instead of $60 new. So I think the people that made the game realized that this was going to be a quick one, so they didn't want to necessarily sell it at that full $60 price. But still, a blast, a lot of fun. I got through. Did the first playthrough and then in like a day or two, kind of, and I just was like, all right, I'll come back to this and unlock the rest of the stuff later, but I think we're going to move on. And I said to myself, I still think I want to keep it kind of light. So even though I have like Days Gone, and I have Kingdom Come Deliverance, and I have several other kind of heavy kind of games to play, I was like, you know what? Let's pull out Kingdom Hearts 3. And let's see how that plays. So I put it in last night, and I started playing it. And it's fun so far, but I forgot how kind of cheesy it is, the dialogue, because it's a very...
it's a Disney game.
It's an anime... Well, it's an anime mixed with Disney.
Meets Final Fantasy.
So yeah, exactly. And that Final Fantasy element is very, very anime. And... So it's kind of a little bit over dramatic, and you can tell that it's, maybe not written by, like, it was written by somebody in Japan and then translated. So I don't know. It's not bad. I like it so far. The first place you go is Olympus, and the first part of the game, mainly essentially the tutorial part of the game, is revisiting Olympus and hanging out with Hercules.
Hercules.
And it's pretty cool, man. They got James Woods back to voice Hades, and it was pretty cool. And it's beautiful, And the thing is it's been like over 10 years since Kingdom Hearts 2. So I was like, what the fuck is going on? I can't even remember. Thankfully, there is like a section of the game that kind of gets you caught up. And catches you up to what happened in the first game and then what happened in the second game, because it leads right into
the entire Kingdom Hearts collection when it was on sale for like $30 or whatever on PlayStation. So I have all of them. I haven't started them yet, but it's the entire. They're
series. Fun. They are definitely fun, and it's fun because you get to go to the different worlds, and you go to the Jack Sparrow pirate world, and you go to Toy Story world, and your characters change to look appropriate. When they're in the Toy Story world, they look like action figures, and when they're hanging out with Jack Sparrow, they're all in pirate outfits. So you got Goofy and Donald, and then and Sora, your main character. But so it is fun. It is fun, but I'm only a little bit into the game. So there is a part where you're also flying. When you fly from world to world, you're flying around in this spaceship made by Chip and Dale, made out of gummy. It's your gummy ship. And you can, in the second game particularly, you can reconfigure the gummy ship and change it around and add parts and pieces to it and stuff. I haven't gotten to that part in the third one yet. So, but you get to fly around and you begin to space battles and stuff. So that's kind of a cool part too. So anyway, enjoying it, but it's definitely got a certain flavor that may not appeal to everybody, and I think that's from the Final Fantasy aspect, because it not only is it a Final Fantasy kind of feel. In fact, there were Final Fantasy characters in the second one, but it also has that Final Fantasy feel. But it also, because it's a Disney game and it is kind of skewed a little younger, it seems a little more innocent. It seems a little more like, But at the same time, you're talking about the heartless, and you're giving your heart away, and all these other things. So. You guys want to check that out. It's been out for like a year, I think, year or so, a little over like 18 months or so. It's a game that's a little bit older. I think you can pick it up for around $40. The thing about it was, the game itself, I bought it, I think, right around when it first came out. There's DLC for it that's like another $30 if you really want it. I doubt that I will get that DLC.
Yeah. Well, I just started replaying Last of Us. You want to talk about a download game?
So yeah, that's the thing. I want to replay Last of Us so I can play. 2, yeah. So when I play Last of Us 2, I'm a little more fresh.
So I started playing Last of Us, and it was Renee and I started. Renee was sitting down here with me when I started playing it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start playing it again. And she's like, okay, I'm going upstairs because I don't want to watch the girl die again. And I'm like, what? And I completely forgot that the one girl dies at the beginning. The young girl dies at the beginning of the game. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I forgot about that. I mean, talk about just like wrenching your heart out right at the beginning of the game. Just we're gonna set the
right
fucking
out the
tone
game
right
man.
Now.
Yeah. The thing about that game though too, like it's so good, but it's also not months and months of gameplay. Like you can get through that game in like a week or two of steady gaming. It's not a huge game. And I think that was one of the complaints that people had, is like it's a really fun game, and and the story was really great, but and heavy. It's a very heavy game, but at the same time, it's not a long game.
I got to a certain spot, and I just couldn't get past it, and I'm like, fuck it, and I gave up.
Right.
So.
No, I remember. I think I was in that exact same spot, and it was the only time in the game, I think, where I actually lowered the difficulty level, because it just couldn't get through it after like several hours of trying and reloading and trying to get through that. I finally was like, and it's one of the few times I've ever actually had to do that. I rarely am. I'm usually able to play most games on the normal level without too many problems.
But there's certain points where you're like, fuck it, I don't care about that. I want story. I want to get past this, and then I'll worry about it again.
Exactly.
Also, speaking of other games, and it's been really hard for me not to download this game and not get it. But there was a new game that came out last Friday. It is spectacularly beautiful, and it looks so cool. And it's the Ghost of Tsushima. Hey.
Yeah, that is getting crazy amounts of really great reviews.
Dude,
people are loving it.
I watched the trailer. I watched a 28-minute gameplay video where the developers actually went through and talked about all the different things. They have it so that you can actually just have an entire Japanese soundtrack. Like, it's all in Japanese.
Yeah, I saw that. You could also change the video to where it's all in black and white, so it looks like a Kurosawa.
That it's in black and white. It's that you'll see like scratches on film and stuff come up. It's like you're actually watching a Kurosawa film. It's all samurai cinema.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They changed it. It's incredible.
It took everything I had not to download that this weekend.
I am most probably not going to get into that game as much as I just can't play everything, and
it looks like it's like what did I say?
I'm just not that interested in
that's the thing.
setting.
To me, it looked like it was kind of a cross between Witcher meets Horizon. So It was that
Sure.
type of thing.
Okay.
The video quality and the scenery and the grass and the way that things were set up were very reminiscent of Horizon, and the fighting was very reminiscent of Witcher.
Okay.
And actually, a lot of the fighting was actually very reminiscent of Horizon as well, because especially if you play as the Ghost, the unhonorable or dishonorable Ghost, because you're basically an assassin, sneaking around and not fighting honorably. I'm like, well, that's me. Like, fuck that. I fight to win. I don't fight for honor. But it's one of those things where just watching how they play, it reminded me a lot of that. But the other thing is that it's not your typical game in that where, like, in a lot of those games, you're fighting and it's slash, and you have to, like, take an enemy's health bar down, and you've got a health bar.
Right.
No, it's all timing with your sword, and it's very realistic fighting. It's that one slash or two slashes, depending on how you do, and your enemy's down. And it's the same thing with you.
Okay.
If you get hit a couple of times, you're fucked.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, that adding a level of realism to the combat, that's pretty cool.
But you can, like,
really
knock arrows
cool.
out of the air and stuff like that. I saw that. They would, like, somebody like shot an arrow and you're like,
okay.
Pwing!
Like I said, man, I've heard really, really good things about it. I heard it's beautiful and it's a game changer, so to speak, about game, video gaming and whatnot. So we shall see.
From our gaming group told Renee, you need to get this game. He actually downloaded it and was playing it like crazy. And he actually told Renee, he's like, you need this game. You need to get this game.
All right. I might have to take a deeper look at it. All right. So we got a couple other things I wanted to talk about briefly as we're getting close to the end of the show. One thing, for those of you guys, for the comic fans out there, Alex Ross recently posted did apparently a series of portrait paintings that are going to be alternative covers to Marvel Comics. Some really, really beautiful work. You guys might want to check some of it out. It's spotlit on I'm going to share the article. Spotlit on Newsarama. Just wonderful portraits of classic kind of depictions of many of the characters. It's like Wolverine and the Human Torch and Storm and Nightcrawler, Angel, The Thing, Mr. Fantastic, Captain America, a bunch of them. Really, really great stuff. Let's see, share on a page you manage. There's the article show. Here we go. 28 portraits of Marvel heroes for it was part of a new office mural. And then it's called timeless variant covers for the various comic books. Marvel has actually been pretty consistent during the whole pandemic kind of comic book recovery kind of thing, whereas DC has been a little more problematic because of them changing and leaving Diamond Distribution. But these are really great. So I'm going to share that. If you guys want to check them out, they are on our Nerds with Alcohol Facebook page. Also, we have, I got some information about Comic-Con International this weekend, really. Starting on Thursday, we had talked about it, that Comic-Con, because Comic-Con San Diego Comic-Con wasn't able to happen, they are having Comic-Con at home. And the Comic-Con itself is producing a screaming shit ton of content that is going to be viewable to everybody. And so instead of having to wait for 4 hours to get into Hall H to see the Avengers cast, sit in and have their talk, their Q&A, you'll be able to see everything online. And all you got to do, just go to their YouTube page. The San Diego Comic-Con YouTube page, it's just Comic-Con International, Comic-Con International. It's their YouTube page. Currently, they've got 74,000 subscribers. I would say that that's going to change probably dramatically in the next day or so. You're going to be able to Just go. There's going to be, it says Thursday the 23rd to Sunday the 26th. So Thursday to Sunday this week. The organizers of SDCC have made things very easy. Whereas nabbing a seat in Hall H would have cost you thousands, it's now simple. Head over to Comic-Con's YouTube channel. Yes, every panel at Comic-Con 2020 will be streaming live onto YouTube, and the links are already available to find. All you need to do is find the panel you're interested in watching on the main Comic-Con website, click on that panel's page, and then follow the YouTube link that's available there. So, what would be actually even better is go to the Comic-Con's website, and it'll have the schedule, and then it'll take the link to that specific video on the YouTube page. Otherwise, just go to the fucking YouTube page, man, and start scrolling. There are over 350 panels being streamed at Comic-Con 2020, including minor ones on smaller comic series to huge ones featuring the entire cast of The Boys Season 2. For a rundown of all the major panels, they posted a breakdown of the schedule. I mean, I will also share that. And it's going to be pretty fucking huge, man. There's going to be a lot coming out this week. So next week, we're probably going to have a lot of shit to talk about because of things that are going to be revealed at this during this thing. A lot of stuff. The last thing I was going to bring up, other than that, is I finally watched Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Cool. Yeah, I meant to watch that again so we could talk about it, because I haven't watched it since it first came out.
Well, I have often said that Kevin Smith was the voice of the millennial generation. I'm a millennial. Or, excuse me, not millennial. The generation.
You're not millennials, dude. You are not.
I'm not a millennial. Yes. No. He is the voice of the Gen X generation. And I'm a Gen Xer. You're a Gen Xer. And and his particularly his earlier work was heralded and lauded as some of as brilliant and wonderful, and particularly the dialogue. He was always very, very good at dialogue.
His movies are very dialogue.
And yes, they are. And particularly Clerks and Chasing Amy and Mallrats too. The first three there, I mean, Clerks was really, really great. Mallrats was kind of considered a stinker. Chasing Amy was also considered really great. It was very up and down. Dogma
was amazing.
Followed that with Dogma, and Dogma was amazing. He did Clerks 2, which was also really fantastic. And after a while, for whatever reason, he had a few kind of lower tier one stinkers. I mean, Zack and Miri was also very fun.
Well, then he tried making like a trilogy of like horror movies too, with.
Right. Well, he made Red State, and the thing is, the Red State was the beginning of where he couldn't get a distributor, and that's where he started distributing, like taking it around to theaters, renting a theater, and showing it, and having a Q&A, and developed a certain level of success with that. Now, Red State, actually, pretty fucking good. It's a horror film that is very realistic because it's not like it doesn't have like a horror film icon. It's not a slasher film. It's a scary movie about a cult, essentially, about something that could actually happen, and it's actually really fucking good, and I actually highly recommend it. I've been meaning to get a copy of it. I don't have a copy of it, but then he started making some real weird stinkers, and he made Tusk, which is easily one of the worst movies I think I've ever seen. It's even been considered, like, by several lists on the internet.
I actually saw an article recently that said that was one of the movies that you needed to see before it left Netflix on July 18th. And
yeah,
I'm like, really?
I mean, yeah, it is one of those movies, like, particularly if you're a Kevin Smith fan, you can see him in it. You can understand. You can go, oh, yeah, I hear him. I hear his voice. Because it's very dialogue driven. It's very, very much so. And
Yoga Hosers too.
And then out of that,
which was just a vehicle for.
And I mean, like I said, even and Johnny Depp's daughter. Yes, I mean his two. those two movies particularly, you can watch them and you can still understand. You can still
I didn't
hear
hate
Kevin
yoga
Smith.
hosers. I will say that.
It still
I didn't
has
hate
his
yoga
flavor.
hosers.
If a movie could have been worse than Tusk, it was Yoga Hosers, and it pained me, man, because like I said, I'm a fan of Kevin Smith. I've loved his work. I've enjoyed a lot of the stuff that he's made. So anyway, I watched when I heard that he was going back to the Jerseyverse, and I was like, the Viewisk universe. I was like, oh, cool, maybe we'll see, because I hear he's still working on Clerks 3. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe we'll see him returned to the things that he is good at, you know. And I got to say, I wasn't disappointed, but I definitely feel like Jay and Silent Bob reboot, because Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was a lot of fun as well. It was also one of those, like, that. It was a lot of fun. I thought it was pretty good. The Jay and Silent Bob reboot was one of those movies where it feels like, one, he got a bunch of his friends together, like he always does, and said, come on, this will be a fucking hoot. This will be a hoot. Let's do this. So there's a lot of cameos, a lot of from previous friends, right?
Let's smoke some weed and make a movie.
Like Jason Lee is in it. Ben Affleck is in it. There's a lot of pokes. There's a lot of like poking fun at himself, at some of the movies that his friends have made.
Which is what Jay and Silent Bob was about.
Right, exactly. There's poking fun at the genre, at himself, poking fun at the whole idea about all of the reboots and things and remakes that Hollywood has been doing lately. So I won't say it was a bad movie. I don't think it was bad. I think it fell short of what he was hoping for, what he was looking for. Because this was another movie that did not get a wide theatrical release.
He released it himself.
It was in theaters for like a weekend in some theaters.
It was a fandom event.
And then, he pretty much... Yeah, that's what it was. And then he released the DVDs himself, and it's on Amazon Prime. And I do think he's getting back to where he needs to be as a movie maker, as a writer. There are some in this particular movie, in Reboot, there was a few moments that were heartstring pullers, and there were a few times his daughter, actually Harley, was pretty good. She's not a Oscar-winning actress by any means, but she was pretty good in this. And so for those of you guys, if you're a big fan of Kevin Smith, you'll probably enjoy
I really enjoyed it. I did think it was a little heavy on... I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that he does now is a little heavy-handed on bringing his daughter in and trying to get her a career. But otherwise, I mean, I enjoyed the movie overall.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and like I said, it had some really funny in-jokes. There had some takes at the camera that were funny. Kevin Smith plays himself in the movie. He plays like an exaggerated version of himself. There is some really, really funny stuff. But at the same time, I was kind of like, It was not exactly what I was expecting.
It definitely wasn't the best of his movies, but I actually thought it was an entertaining revisit of the Jersey series of movies.
Yeah, I would agree. All
right, I got one last thing to talk about. Because I found this article. Actually, it was actually a link, I think, from. I found something on Nerdist, and it led me to this. But this is actually from Showbiz Cheat Sheet. And it was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. star Clark Gregg finally admits how he really feels about leaving the MC movies behind. And it's an article, and it's actually kind of cool. It's after 7 seasons, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is ending on ABC. And according to most fans, the show has definitely come into its own over its run, and I think it has. The first TV offshoot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., stars Clark Gregg as Phil Coulson. The actor, who made his debut in Iron Man, recently opened up about Coulson's legacy of leaving the movies behind and spearhead his own hour-long series. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has remained separate from the movies for years. When Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. launched, Marvel told fans how it's all connected. And in fact, the show's first season features guest appearances by MCU movie stars like Samuel L. Jackson, Kobe Smulders, and Jamie Alexander. It even deals heavily with the game-changing twist at the heart of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. But after season 2, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. evolved into a very separate entity from the MCU. It was no longer beholden to what the movies were doing, and because of that, fans still debated whether Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., as well as the other Marvel shows such as Netflix hits like Daredevil, truly count as canon within the MCU. Clark Gregg shared his thoughts on the show's status within the MCU. Although Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still occasionally referenced the movies, the acknowledgement was not mutual. The big screen side of MCU never returned the favor in recognizing Coulson's survival. Despite the character's prominent role in Phase 1, Greg never reunited with the Avengers, and in an interview with comicbook.com, he looked back on the fact. Well, I mean, the crush on Cap never dies, but I always felt that same sadness just because really the whole thing started. And I think the reason Coulson became what Coulson was really about Robert Downey Jr. and those scenes together and the repartee. He makes you that much better and brings out so much more than you might normally see in a scene. The way he took those scenes and that character on brought me to life in a way so that I didn't get to have that. So that being said, Greg still hopes the MCU can retroactively tell the story of Coulson's encounter with the Avengers. After all, early in the franchise, Marvel Studios leaned on short films known as Marvel One-Shots to fill in story gaps.
Yeah, those were great.
So perhaps it's never too late to reveal Coulson's final mission with the Avengers before Avengers Endgame takes place. That would be kind of cool, I think.
That'd be cool.
Could Coulson and the agents return to movies after the show ends? As Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wraps up, some of the stars are hopeful its characters could transition into the movies. Breakout heroes like Quake and Melinda May would certainly make strong additions to the A-Force movie the MCU is reportedly working on.
I think so too, absolutely, for sure. Quake or Melinda. I think also I can't remember his name. The big what was his name? He carries around Matt. Like an axe or a shotgun with
He's actually the director of.
I think he's the director now. Yeah, I mean, I'm like a couple of seasons behind on that show, but I always liked him. Too. I think he'd be.
And as the next set of heroes rises in Phase 4, there's no reason Fitz and Simmons couldn't lend their support. For this part, Greg seems to think the time is right for some of the show's fan favorite heroes to graduate to the movies. Avengers Endgame did feature a brief appearance by James D'Arcy as Agent Carter's Edwin Jarvis. This was the first time an MCU character introduced on TV popped up in the movies. So perhaps the
Agents of
S.H.I.E.L.D. cast can follow suit.
Pretty cool. Hey, so Lou just Lou Pizzette just made it kind of said hi on the Twitch stream, on the Twitch chat. So, Lou, welcome to the show. I think hopefully it looks like you came in a little late, but we're on every Tuesday night at 8, man. If you want to come swing in, sit in, and have a little chat with us, man. Good to hear.
Have a drink.
Lou
have
is
a chat.
Have a drink to Lou. Yeah. Lou is a postal worker. He does a route. He delivers the mail, and so he is considered a essential worker. And I frontline hero, absolutely. You have my appreciation and my sympathies for all the morons out there that are.
Yeah, I see his posts, and I'm like, oh my god, people are idiots.
Oh my god. Absolutely, a lot of dumb fuckers out there. Lastly, I saw a little, to kind of wrap things up a little bit, so check out, for those of you guys who haven't been watching it, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has had its ups and down seasons, but it looks like they're really going to end on a really high note. They're really doing some really great stuff in the last
I've been
season
really
or two.
enjoying this season. I'm a few episodes behind right now, but this season has been absolutely incredible. I can say that they're like running through all the different genres of things, and it's been incredible.
And I've been buying the DVD sets, the Blu-ray sets and stuff. I think I have up to season 5, so I'm eventually going to get back into it and stuff. So anyway, great show though, guys. Check it out, and it is coming to an end after season 7. Last thing I was going to talk about real quick is I did see a quick blurb about pre-orders for the PlayStation 5 are going to be starting soon. People are getting really excited about it. They still have not released a price yet, but they are saying
pre-order,
that
but you don't know how much it's going to cost yet.
They haven't started the pre-orders yet, but they are saying it's coming soon. They are saying though that they're only going to be allowing like maybe one per household to pre-order. So you're not going to be able to like pre-order one for yourself and one for your kid
and like 5 to sell on
gift
eBay
or whatever. And then 5 sell on eBay, because it is going to probably be fairly limited at first. I'm sure that they are in production right now, and they're probably churning them out over in China somewhere or wherever they're making them. Japan?
It's Sony.
Wherever they're making them. I'm sure that, well, still, I mean, you don't know. Maybe they do have a production in China. Wherever they're making them, they're probably churning them out
for the PS5.
Specifically bought a TV that was 4K happy. So anyway, they're saying that when they do start, they're probably going to be limiting those because, like I said, they're supposed to be in stores for Christmas this year. My guess is though that money's going to be a little tight around the United States for the next few months. So you never know. We shall see.
Although I gotta say, dude, I've been lucky. Renee and I are coming out of the quarantine so far better than we came in, and that's. Oh yeah,
I monetarily I don't have a whole lot to complain about right now. I actually certified again for unemployment this week. They rolled me right into the 13-week extension. Although for whatever reason my first week it got denied. The one for this last 2 weeks is fine. I should have another week or two to do for the where I start, at least another week where I get the pandemic relief, because the pandemic relief is at the end of this month, and then I go back into just normal unemployment. But I should be back to work before too many more weeks are out. Yeah. My imagining is that if I'm not back to work next week, it'll be by the time the first of the month, Yeah,
and Renee had a problem with like the first 4 or 5 weeks of her unemployment, that there was an issue, and she kept trying to call and trying to call and trying to call, and she could never get through. She finally got through last week after like 3 months of trying every day. She finally got through and talked to a person.
I have friends that did the same thing.
And we actually got the money that she was owed for those first weeks yesterday. So,
yeah, you get a big
and that's really what it was. It was a big boom. Here's a big infusion into your account, which was really nice. But I mean, it's like if we had been struggling up until that point, I mean, it's been great that I've been able to keep working from home.
But that's the thing. A lot of people have been dealing with that. They've been out of work. They've been living on their credit cards or their savings or whatever else, and they haven't been able to get in contact with the unemployment. Because I was having a problem, I sent them at least three notes on the in the website, because I couldn't get through through the phone lines, and they still haven't answered those letters. But it's I mean, fuck it. If I gotta call it a wash, I'll call it a wash. I don't care. At least
they're going through now. Actual tears of joy when she got through to a human.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my friend Rachel said yesterday had said that she had
45 emails.
She created a claim back in April, and was never able to get into contact with anybody. She made a post about it earlier today, and then early this morning, and then like an hour or 2 hours later, she was like, "Oh my God, I finally got through and we fixed it." They got it. It was so bad that eventually, like, the claim, like, went away because she hadn't had it. It got canceled because she hadn't had enough contact. So, but they were able to fix it, and now I was like, "Hey, good for you," and look forward to like several $1,000s into your checking account.
All right,
now.
one last thing before we go, and I just want to bring this up because because of the day that it is currently July 21st, 2020. Today would have been Robin Williams' 69th birthday.
Oh
yeah, so
man,
I've been seeing
really?
a lot of
Is that
stuff online about remembering Robin Williams on his birthday. He was a comedy genius. He was one of my idols growing up. I always wanted to be a comedian. He was one of the funniest guys I've ever seen. He was always on when I see him in interviews and stuff like that. But some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen.
Right.
Him and George Carlin were like two of my idols. They were the two that I thought were the funniest guys in the world. So I'd like to raise a glass to Robin Williams. Yeah. Unfortunately,
absolutely.
you know, went way too soon.
We'll never see his kind again.
And a testament to how we need to help people with mental illness in our country.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I think that's about it for me.
Well, on that note,
I think that's going to wrap things up. And on that note, until next time, Slancha.
Slancha.
Well, that was pretty good. All right, have a good week, everybody.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to tell the story of the band.